Hello and welcome to Financial Accounting. I'm looking forward to working with you over the next 8 weeks. My name is Dr. Francis Millerani. I'll be your instructor for this course. So I know some of you are a little bit nervous about the idea of taking an accounting class, but I'm here as your guide, as your mentor to help you get through this 8-week journey in a way that you'll feel comfortable and you'll be successful. So I have 2 requests of you. One is to keep up with the work each week. And number 2 is to reach out to me if you have any struggles or problems along the way. My main role is to be here is to help you be successful in this course. And I can guarantee you that if you do the work and you reach out to me with any questions or problems, I guarantee you things will go fine for you in the course, okay? So let's get started. So we have this course broken up into 8 weeks. We call them 8 modules. And this is a course where you get to do a lot of problems and exercises. That's the nature of accounting. You learn most by actually looking at a problem and then applying some basic tools and knowledge to the problem set. So in week 1, we're going to talk about what accounting is, how you can benefit by knowing something about accounting. So what I know from my many years in industry and teaching is that accounting is fundamental to every organization. So whether you plan to get a degree in accounting or even get a degree in business, knowing a little bit about accounting or a lot about accounting is going to be helpful to you as you progress through your careers. And that includes careers in nonprofit organizations. So it's not just for-profit organizations that need to know about accounting. Because what accounting does is it tells us about how the activity of the firm translates into the financial results. And every organization needs to achieve a certain financial result. Believe it or not, even nonprofits need to make a profit to stay in business. In fact, the term nonprofit is really a misnomer. It's really non-taxable. But we're going to focus in this class on going through some basics of accounting. You'll learn how to do journal entries, adjusting entries. You'll take a look at some inventory items, and then we'll look at some very high-level financial analysis, and then we'll end with a statement of cash flows. So at the end of this course, you'll have been introduced to the whole idea of accounting and how it works in different organizations. You won't be an accountant, you won't be an expert in the field just from this course. I mean, some of you come in with understanding of this already, but for those of you who this is new to, let's view it as a new journey into something that many people call the language of business. It's a language of business because when you get into an organization, people are always going to be interested in knowing how do the numbers look? Did we meet our revenue targets? Are we going to make profit this semester? Do we have enough this quarter? Do we have enough cash to keep our business running? And these are questions that every organization needs to answer. And so that's what we're going to talk about. That's what we're going to look at. And like I said a few minutes ago, if you get stuck along the way, please reach out to me. Okay? Everybody should be successful in this course. All right, so let's just take a quick look at what is going on in week 1. So in week 1, there's a quiz. There's some readings, chapters 1 and 2. There's a discussion. So we only have 2 discussions in this class. So week 1 and week 8. Week 1, we get to know each other. And then in week 8, we get to kind of wrap things up. There's a problem set. And so the best thing to do is just to kind of jump in and to just dig into the course and realize that that I'm here to help you and guide you if you need it. Okay, so I'm looking forward to working with you. I think that by the end of the 8-week journey, you'll realize that you've developed some insight and some skills that will be helpful to you throughout your career. So in chapter 1, you're going to look at the nature of business accounting. So different types of businesses. So we think about businesses as being manufacturing, service, or merchandising. And we also can think about services, about businesses being corporations, limited liability corporations, partnerships, or individual sole proprietorships. And they can also be nonprofits. So there are different types and forms of businesses, and we need to understand which type of business we're talking about as we go through our accounting journey. So one of the exercises that starts, I think, in week 2 or 3 is a merchandising situation. So merchandisers are firms that buy products from manufacturers and resell them to either consumers or to other businesses. So things like Costco, things like Amazon, those are merchandising businesses. So when we think about the role of accounting, it plays a critical linchpin so that people can rely upon financial information. So whether you're making a decision to invest in a company, by buying stocks, for a bank to loan a company money, or as a potential employee, whether to work there, knowing the financial status of the organization is important. And it's one thing for management to tell us what that is, but it's another thing if we have a third party professional, which is the accountant and ultimately the CPA to do that for us. So to help us make sure that we understand how financial statements work, there's a general set of principles called generally accepted accounting principles, more often referred to as GAAP. Those guide how financial transactions are recorded and how financial statements are prepared. And one of the things that is common to discussions is the accounting equation, which you'll read in chapter 1, which is basically that assets, the things that we own, always equal our liabilities plus our equity. Our liabilities is what we owe to others, and the equity is basically the difference between assets and liabilities. So you're thinking about it on a personal basis. Your assets might be your car, if you have property, your savings account, those are things that you own. You might have liabilities, things that you owe to others, such as student loan or mortgage or car loan. Those are liabilities. The difference between those two things is your equity. It's the same for firms. So as we go through the semester, we'll look at some transactions that occur in business. You go into a store, you buy something, store buys inventory, they pay employees. How does all of that flow through the system? And then we're going to look at some financial statements, the income statement, which is where we find revenue and expenses. The balance sheet, which is where we find assets, liabilities, and equity. Assets are things that we own. Liabilities are things that we owe to others, and equity is the difference. And then the statement of cash flows. So that's going to be the key part of chapter 1. Chapter 2 is going to start to get into some of the technical details of what accountants do. So one thing that all accounting systems have is something called a chart of accounts, and that's just a way to record items. So if you think about the different things that you have around your household, a desk, you have equipment, computer equipment, cell phones, you have furniture, etc. So if you think about multiplying that many, many times over in an organization, we need ways to classify that and to call it in a simple way. So we can't identify every item, but we can identify all the equipment we have. And so we'll decide, what belongs to the equipment category, which belongs to the building category, which belongs to accounts payable, accounts receivable. We'll start to look at this idea of double entry accounting system, which basically means this idea of debits and credits. And we'll do that through journalizing or journal entries. And then once we've posted the activities through our journalizing, every transaction that goes on in the business, we have to create basically a preliminary financial statement or a trial balance. And the trial balance basically summarizes all the activities that we've had during the particular period. And that's going to help us later to build an income statement, a balance sheet, and statement of cash flows. But that's later in the course. So that's what we're going to be talking about in week 1. Again, I'm here to support your learning, to support you in any way I can throughout this course. I want all of you to relax, to dig in, do the best you can, and the best you can is going to be more than good enough. Okay, thank you.